Joining us right now inside the beauty bubble, two people kind of joining us, part of a huge team. We got Cheri Gaulke, who is a part of this, and Cheryl Bookout. Both of you did this, and I will say this: it is a documentary, but it's an interesting documentary. Can you kind of, share what it's about?
Sure. I don't know. I'll start. It's about a roadside attraction in Joshua Tree, California. I live in Joshua Tree, so the subject of our film is someone that I'm acquainted with, and felt like his story needed to be shared. He's a very flamboyant, amazing, charismatic man who owns this roadside attraction with about 3,000 vintage beauty artifacts in it. And because Joshua Tree is a tourist destination, he's learned to really be quite flamboyant in how he shares about his collection. But also, he has a really amazing family life. And I like to say that I had a life-changing haircut when I met Jeff, because his beauty salon, it's the Joshua Tree Beauty Bubble Salon and Museum. And I went in for a haircut that changed my life, and hence this film. And Cheri and I have worked on other projects together, and I'll let Cheri speak. But I called her after my haircut and said, "Oh my gosh, I am so excited! I really think I have our next subject for our next film. What do you think?" And she said,
Yeah, no, I was really excited to hear about Jeff. I signed on before I even met him, and you see in what's playing right now what it opens with him actually singing to one of his clients as he's cutting her hair, and that's a typical experience. Jeff is always charming and delightful and loves to entertain you at every moment and tell you about his collection of vintage beauty artifacts, which is really fun.
Well, I think, a great title, by the way. I don't know how you do it so quick. I love somebody saying, love the hair, by the way. But I'm not sure who they're talking about, either one of you. But, you got the poster behind you, Cheri. Who came up with that?
"Oh,
Who came up with the poster? It's a collaboration. That's actually Jeff driving into the sunset in his vintage car, Ruthie. Named after his mom, who's very important to him, and he talks about her in the film. But I think that the poster kind of also captures this sort of whimsical quality of the way that we tell his story. You see the vintage hairdryer flying through the air, and we use animation a lot in our film. So the opening sequence, you're driving through the desert in Joshua Tree, and animated jackrabbits drawn by Cheryl are leaping across your path, and also vintage hairdryers are flying through the air towards you. And right away, we bring you into this world that has a lot of magic and whimsy.
Well, I love it. And Cheryl, look, if you're looking for someone to do a film on or a documentary on, what is it that you look for specifically? And what was it specifically about this that you said, okay, Cheri, we got to do this?
good question." I think for me personally, and Cheri and I have talked about this, we love to share artistic visions and artistic people's stories. Sometimes people who don't get a chance to make their voices really heard. And so when I was sitting in that chair getting my haircut, as actually part of one of the attractions when people come into Jeff's salon, and his interaction and his artistic abilities, not just as a creative hairstylist, but just even in the way he's organized his salon. And the more he spoke about his family and his commitment to community, he has such a strong voice that I felt it wasn't being heard. And, on so many levels, it's a gay marriage. He and his husband adopted a child at birth who is biracial. And his story, the more he talked to me, the stronger I felt about wanting the whole world to hear about Jeff and his life, and not just his roadside attraction, but how he maneuvers it through the world. In the film, you'll see that he has an exhibition at the San Francisco Museum of Art at the airport. It was like the first museum in an airport. So his creativity is bound. He knows no limits.
Okay, I can tell you both work well together. How long have you worked well together? And is this your first time? I feel like we've we met before.
It's our first time in La Femme, but
because I was thinking that we had a film in it before, Glorious Call, but it's, you know, this whole experience of being online and doing the Q&As is definitely different and delightful. It's wonderful that we can, you know, be at home and still be.
Yeah, I've been doing it for like 8 years, so I'm kind of like, I always see people and they go, "How come you don't remember me?" I go, "I'm sorry, we introduced so many people throughout." Like, you know, I think there's 100 and some like filmmakers in this, or probably more, because there's 120 films, so definitely like one per, so like 2 or 3 per, plus crew, plus people. Putting this together, I don't think people understand what it takes to make even like, okay, when you get like there with your camera, what do you do to have they not like be very like because sometimes people freeze and you're like, no, be you, and they're like what's the process for that? I always wonder that.
Well, I think, you know, with Jeff, it was kind of the opposite of what is usually the problem. Because he is such a kind of, he's always on, you know, he's a performer, and so it was very easy, and he's told his stories many times, so it was very easy to get him to be, you know, colorful and dynamic on camera. The bigger challenge with him was, you know, I mean, he is a very authentic person, but getting him to also share like the challenges, because he's a real glass half full kind of guy. And so what are the challenges? And, you know, when we started making this film, we were on this journey with him of having this, you know, being in the small community of Joshua Tree and having his collection be showcased to 50 million people at the SFO Museum. So he was on this journey to like be on this international stage, this place where a lot of people are going to see his work. And we thought, oh, it's just such a happy, you know, story. Where's the tension? Where's the challenge? And where's the character arc? And then COVID hit. You know, we started filming this in winter of 2019, and COVID hit, and all of a sudden his salon was closed, his museum was closed. He didn't know where his financial wherewithal was coming from, and he was depressed because he wasn't able to share all this stuff with his community. So it kind of gave us those challenges that we needed to make a good film, ironically.
Yeah, I get it.
And to piggyback on Cheri about getting Jeff to open up, the reverse, you know, being true with Jeff, always being the glass half full. We just hung around and did a lot of taping, and he when he would start to talk, you could see him switch over from being on to being really emotional. And we were really grateful to him for sharing that part of his life with us, the part that makes him emotional.
And the film is a film that will make you laugh a lot. It'll also make you tear up. It's emotional because it's about a family. It's about intimacy. And, you know, we have this teenage boy rolling his eyes when his parents say things that embarrass him. But also, just one other thing I wanted to say is that Jeff, we have 8 original songs by Jeff in the film. He's also a musician. And an example of Jeff is during the pandemic, he wrote a song called Smile Behind Your Mask. And that kind of says it all, you know, for who Jeff is, and in the face of challenges. You got to keep that smile on.
It's available right now. Go get your tickets. You can watch all the great films or just this one. All you have to do is find it. Click on the link. We'll show it to you right there. lafemme.eventive.org/films. This one, Inside the Beauty Bubble. Again, with Cheryl, Cheri, and the great guy who makes things fun. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And evidently you could get a hair appointment in Joshua Tree. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. He's back. Yeah. But for a bit, he took a break on cutting hair, but he's back doing some. I saw you posted it on Facebook, and it is a delight, whether it's Jeff or one of the other women who are working in the salon. It is such a delightful experience. I highly recommend, if you're planning to come stay out in Joshua Tree, make an appointment at the Beauty Bubble. Or at least go in and look at the collection.
It's a good calling card if everyone says, "Hey, where you at?" It's like, go watch the film. All right. Thank you very much for spending time with us.
Thank you, Aaron.
Here at the La Femme Film Festival.